Hey kiddos, welcome to this week where we are looking at the volume of different shapes. Just to help in the sake of time, I went through and I put in some formulas to start us off. And yeah, let's dive in. All right, so for our first one, we're looking at the volume of this cube, which is the side cubed, or the side times itself 3 times. So the sides are 6 inches, 6 times 6 times 6 gives us a volume of 216 inches to the third. Remember that we need to have this third because we're doing inches times inches times inches. All right, for this triangular prism, what we have here is 1/2 base times height times length. So 1/2 of the base, the height, and the length. Base is 5. Height is 8, length is 11. Remember, we worked on something similar to this before break. Make sure that you're pulling them apart into pieces, okay? So 5 times 8 times 11, we get to start there. We get 440, and I need to take half of that. If I take half of that, divide it by 2 or times 0.5, I get 220 centimeters cubed coming down here. V is sides to the third, or 4 times 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64 millimeters cubed. Over here, volume equals length times width times height. So we're going to do 7 times 3 times 2. 7 times 3 is 21 times 2 is 42 feet cubed. Make sure I'm not missing any. Coming down here, another length times width times height. So we have 9 times 3 times 3. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 times 3 is 81 yards cubed. And then the last one, 1/2 of the base times the height times the length. So we have a base of 10 times a height of 12 times a length of 15. So do that part first. 10 times 12 times 15 gives us 1,800, but I have to cut that in half, which gives me 900 meters cubed. All right, any questions on these, kiddos? Bring them with you to class. All right, this time I gave it to you in words, took away the picture, but we're still utilizing our formula. So square prism, where we have 14 meters high, wide, and long, also known as 14 cubed. Remember, this is 14 times 14 times 14, or 2,744 meters cubed. A rectangular prism that is 4 inches wide, 9 inches long, and I'm sorry, not inches, centimeters, and 8 centimeters high. So we have 9 times 4 times 8 gives us 288 centimeters cubed. A cube with a side length of 5. Remember, this is 5 times 5 times 5, or 125 inches cubed. Triangular prism. 1/2. It has a height of 10. It has a length of 8. And it has a width or a base of 13. So pull it into pieces. 13 times 10 times 8 gives you 1,040, but I have to cut it in half. When I do that, I'm left with 520 feet cubed. Making sure I don't miss any. I know I missed one last time. All right, cereal box. Volume. It has a length of 6. It is a width of 3 and a height of 11. So 6 times 3 is 18 times 11 gives us 198 inches cubed. Over here, last one. 1/2. It has a base of 3, a height of 2, and a length of 4. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24, but I have to cut it in half, which gives me 12 yards to the third. Any questions on this, sweet faces? Bring them with you to class. All right, love bugs. So we talked about this a little bit in class, but If you had trouble with the volume of the cubes, absolutely fine. We would normally, if you were a little more advanced, we would do fractional exponents. But since we're not doing that, what I had you do is use the relationship utilizing what we know about exponents. So we're not going to use a fractional exponent because we're not ready for that yet, but we can use some guess and check to work it out, right? So we know that to find the volume, we have to take a number and we have to cube it. So if I want a number as small as 8 as my final answer and I multiply it by itself, I would start with 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Way too big. Take it back to 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Missing side is 2 meters. Now, if you were a little bit further along, you could also say that the volume is equal to the side with 1/3, but we're not into square roots just yet. So utilizing guess and check for this, okay? Looking here, we have an unknown length, so our volume is 546, and that is equal to the length times 7 times 6. So start with what you know. 7 times 6 is 42. We have it multiplied by a length. It's equal to 546. What I need to do is get the length, or the letter L, by itself. I'm going to do that by dividing both sides by 42. Using our algebra, this gives me 13 is equal to the length. So my missing side is 13 millimeters. Coming down here, 1/2 base times height times length. 1/2 of 3 times 9 times a missing height. 3 times 9 is 27. And if I take 1/2 of 27, I know that overall it's going to equal into 54. So if I do 54 divided by 27, I get 2. But I have to do the last part of getting rid of the height. Sorry, I said 2. And the last thing that I need to do then is, instead of timesing by 1/2, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. I get a height of 4. My missing piece is 4. Over here, again, utilizing what we know, when we said we had 3, we got to 27. So if we started with 4, 4 times 4 is 16, times 4 is 64, not big enough, going up to 5. 5 times 5, 25, times 5 is 125. So the missing side is 5. Over here, 1/2 of a base, which is missing, times a height, which is 6, and a length, which is 17. All of this is going to equal 255 in total. So I'm going to start off with 6 times 17, which gives me 102. So I have 255 equals 1/2 of 102 times the base. So this time we're going to use just a different strategy. We're going to do 102, and we're going to take half of it. And that gives us 51. B is equal to 255. If I do 255 and I divide it by 51, I'm left with 5. Another strategy. So you'll notice that last time I did the moving of the 102 first, and the last thing was utilizing the 1/2. This time I did it first, just knowing that with multiplication, I can do them in either order, and I'm still going to get the same answer for that. Last one, length is 11. Width is unknown. Height is 4. All of that together gives me 264. 11 times 4 is 44, times the unknown width is equal to 264. If I divide to get it by itself, 264 divided by 44 leaves me with 6 yards. Any questions, sweet faces? Please bring them with you to class. All right, loves, looking at missing side lengths. So if we have a volume of 343 and I want to know the missing side length, I know from before that if I did 5 times 5 times 5, I had 125. So this time I'm going to start with 7, because I know that 7 times 7 already gets me to 49. This is a missing length of 7. Again, guess and check, only because we're not utilizing fractional exponents just yet. If it's something that you want to look into, let me know and we can talk about it. Prism has a height of 4. It has a length of 6. The base is unknown. And in total, it's 108. So start with what we have. 4 times 6 is 24. I have to take 1/2 of that. So 1/2 of 24 is 12. And if I divide both sides by 12, 108 divided by 12 leaves me with a base of 9. Base of 9. All right, coming down here, I need 512. Now, I saw that when I did 7, I got to 343, so I'm just going to go one above to get 8. The side length is equal to 8. 8 times 8 times 8, 512. Over here, we have a rectangular prism. So volume is equal to, actually, let's plug the volume in. Volume is equal to 36, which we get from an unknown length, a width of 2, and a height of 6. 36 is equal to the length times 12. 36 divided by 12 gives us a length of 3. Coming down here, we have a volume of 90, which we get from 1/2 times an unknown base, a height, actually, not unknown. Here it is. Our base is 5 times an unknown height times a length of 3. 5 times 3 is 15. If I take 1/2 of 15, I get 7.5. So 90 is equal to 7.5 times the height. I'm going to divide both sides by 7.5. 90 divided by 7.5 gives me 12. My missing height is 12. Last one on this page. My volume is 980. I have a length of 7, a width that is missing, and a height of 20. So 7 times 20 is 140. W is equal to 980. When I do 980 divided by 140, I get a missing length of 7. All right, kiddos, questions on this one? Bring them with you to class. Now, my sweet faces, we have a challenge on our hands, specifically with this one, which we're going to talk about, but these are hard. So what we have here is we have to find the volume of composite shapes. So instead of just utilizing one type of volume, now we have multiple. So we're going to start off with this one. So we have a rectangle. All 3 sides are already labeled, so a little bit easier in that. So if we did the 8 times 6 times 5, we get 240 centimeters cubed here. Now coming up here for our triangle though, 1/2 of a base, which is a shared side of 8, a height of 4, and a width or a length of 6. So right there we have to do 8 times 4 times 6, which is 192, but we need half of it. So we get 96 centimeters to the third. If we add that with the 240 we had below, all together we have 336 centimeters cubed. So we add these 2 pieces together to get the total volume. Over here, this one is a challenge, and we're going to talk about why in just a minute. So starting off with our rectangle, we have 16 times 5, but we have to figure out the depth of it. And if we look up here, we have a depth of 3. So that part was a little bit tricky. We really had to utilize the pieces that we have here. So 16 times 5 times 3 gives us 240 inches cubed here. Now for our triangle though, we'll see we have an 8, a 9, and a 3. So 8 times 9 times 3 gives me 216, but I need half of it. So I have 108 inches cubed. Now I need to add my 2 pieces together. I have 108 plus 240, which gives me 348 inches cubed. Again, this was a challenge. If you have questions on where I got those measurements, please let me know, but we're having to utilize the shapes in comparison to each other. Down here, another bit of a challenge. Our cubes are congruent, so I only labeled one of them. So if we start off with that one, 9 times 9 times 9 gives us 729 meters cubed. So both of these are going to be that measurement. Now we have a length, a width, and a height. 12 times 5 times 7 gives me 420 meters cubed. I have to add that to our two squares. And in total, I have 1,878 meters to the third. Last one, nuggets. Sides cubed, you'll see that this one is labeled as 2. So 2 times 2 times 2, 8 feet cubed. Don't use this for the rectangle though. We have 6 times 2 times 4, which gives us 48 feet cubed. Put our 2 together, we have a total of 56 feet cubed. Again, questions, kiddos? Bring them with you. Have a good weekend, mathlete.